Welcome to the Chicago Overwatch Lakeside Showdown. My name is Randy Valor, and it is a beautiful spring day here in Chicago. We are coming at you live inside Ignite Gaming Lounge in Skokie, Illinois for an action-packed day of competitive Overwatch. 96 players on 16 teams have made the journey here to find out who will be crowned the top Overwatch team in Chicago. Before we get into the action, a quick word on our format for today's tournament. Our matches will be split into two phases, the group stage followed by the elimination stage. The group stage will see our 16 teams split into 4 groups, 4 teams each. Each team will play every other opponent in their group in a round-robin format to the best of 1 map. The top 2 teams with the best record in each group for a total of 8 teams will advance to our elimination stage. In this phase, our 8 teams will be placed into a traditional bracket and will play each match the best of 3 maps. Maps in this stage will be determined through map bands selected by the competitors, and we will advance through this stage until only 1 team remains. The first group of the day will be starting their matches shortly here, and we will be bringing you one of those matches live from each set here on our stream. If you want to support us and want to see more, make sure to follow us on our channel and our social media pages. You can find all that information and more on our website, chicagooverwatch.com. So, as we get ready for our first match, I'm going to kick it over to our boys in the broadcast booth, Blitzbolt and Labasco, where they will be taking you through the action in our first match of the day, where we'll see the Googlebois take on Overcrotch on Dorado. Gentlemen.
Thank you very, very much for that one, Randy Valor. I am Labasco. Next to me is Blitzbolt. We'll be taking you through today through all the matches. We'll have Randy Valor coming on as well at some point. But Blitz, glad to have you here with me. We've got Overcrotch versus Googlebois as our first matchup of the day. What should we expect from this first matchup that we've got?
Well, good morning, Chris, Labasco, first off, and good morning, everybody on the stream. So we're looking at Overcrotch versus Googlebois. Both teams are looking very hot coming into the tournament today. Overcrotch, interesting team, as there are 2 brothers and 2 sisters, so we got a little bit of family love in Overwatch on the server today. While Googlebois, at the same time, we're looking at some pretty high tier Overwatch, diamond level, mid-diamond level team. They're definitely coming to show some real good skill.
Without a doubt, we're going to be going into that matchup here in just a second. And like you said, we've got a pretty interesting matchup here at the start between these two. I mean, Overcrotch is just a good name anyways, and then you've got a pair of brothers and a pair of sisters on the team. That's just awesome. And then the other side, you have a team that actually has LAN experience and has played in tournaments before as well. So it's one of those things where you kind of get to see how are these 2 teams going to stack up. I know you've seen both. I think you've seen a little bit of some of the players that we might see here today.
Yeah, we've seen them, especially in our Pug Nights, our weekly Pug Nights at Chicago Overwatch. We've seen some of these players, and now we're seeing them on LAN, which is really interesting to see how different that experience is. In Pugs and, ranked ladder, maybe even online tournaments, you're playing in the comfort of your home. You're playing on your computer, no pressure besides, just having to win. Well, on the other hand, while you're here on LAN, everybody's watching. You're here with your teammates next to you. Some people thrive off of that. Some people are happy to see all of that energy. Some people just really go hard when they get that experience. Some people, they struggle with it. So we'll see how that works out today on the LAN stage.
So we're moving into Dorado now. So now give me a name from one of these teams. You can give me a name from one team or a name from both teams that we should be watching here as we get ready for Overcrotch versus Googlebois.
So I'm actually interested in seeing Ryzen today. We've seen him a little bit before, so I want to see, again, how does the experience stack up when it comes to LAN. So we're going to see how that is. As we now are loading into Dorado, the comps are going to come out now.
So we have for you Overcrotch is going to be on the blue side. On the red side is going to be Googlebois. So we know for sure Overcrotch is going to come out here. They're showing us a Torbjorn at the start here. Griffin is going to be playing that. Interesting pick that we get to see here. Interesting comp that we get from them.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Overcrotch looking for the Torbjorn. They are looking to just hold on that choke. They're setting up now behind the bridge. Maybe he'll set up for a little bit of wall charge at the beginning up top. But Googlebois, on the other hand, you know what's going on. They're coming out with the Rhine Goats, or 3-3, depending on which broadcast you're listening to. And, that's proven comp. You know it's going to work out. But let's see if they're going to be taken by surprise by this kind of off-meta composition that Overcrotch is coming out with.
Liking Ian is the one who's going to be playing the Reinhardt for this team in Googlebois. We're going to watch him come along the right side. We see here set up on the top as the team in Overcrotch. Scarlet Raven showing off her ability to kind of move around here at the start. but these teams starting to move now. Iceborne in the sky, just throwing out a little bit of damage here at the beginning, coming back around, and now the charge coming off, looking for it, not going to get it. And now this is the opportunity for that Goats comp to find that Reinhardt. So already down the Rhine is the defense for Overcrotch. So Googlebois looking good here at the start, cleaning up as well.
Yeah, Big Papa Dump definitely one of the most risk-taking players we've seen already. He's going for the charge. If he hits that charge, that's going to do so much for his team. They're just going to go and clean up the rest of the fight. If he doesn't hit the charge, or if the enemy gets saved, you know, it's going to get hard to take him out of that dire spot that he just put himself in. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out for this time. Googlebois now cleaning up the rest of the fight, and they're looking poised to take the second point pretty convincingly.
Yeah, should be able to get this no problem. They've got some ultimates coming up too for Googlebois. They've got Habanero, and they also have Nietzsche as well. So self-destruct and the rally, that's going to give them a lot here, and they're just continuing to win early on in this fight. Scarlet Raven having to use the res onto Iceborne, and they did lose their Diva at the beginning of this fight as well. So already starting off really good for Overcrotch as they are allowing that cart to come and move its way through. They're starting to aggress into that team as well. Iceborne using his ability to get away, but Earthshatter came down and self-destruct from Nietzsche as well, cleaning up some more. Ooh, that barrage, a little bit of overkill there, and that'll end up losing the life there for Iceborne. So unfortunately, that barrage doesn't work, but we've seen Overcrotch going to have to regroup.
This is a prime example, too, of how Goats work against, you know, you're seeing Overcrotch coming out with 3 tanks, while Fireborn now just switching on to the Soldier. He was Diva as of the last fight. And you have the Reinhardt, you have the Orisa, so you have 2 shields, but Goats is really good at just runs right past it and engaging so fast and so hard onto the enemy teams. That's exactly what they end up doing. So the Graviton Surge is coming out and the fight is starting.
Throw the grab out there. You're having plenty of damage come through everyone. You also have the Zenyatta almost taking Iceborne out of the air. Scarlet Raven getting the res back onto the Reinhardt, but right now just pushing his way in his Linkane and just continuing to stomp. They're about to get that second point, and they have 5 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock for Googlebois to complete this map.
That is one of the fastest times I've ever seen, actually. You know, they've been consistently pushing the payload while winning every single fight. Now, Overcrotch coming out with the Bastion comp. You know, they've got 2 shields. Everything is just being pulled into protecting the Bastion, protecting the little fort that you're going to set up. In the meantime, Iceborne is looking to come from the back, come from an off angle, and just go for damage while the rest of Googlebois is definitely focused on the Bastion.
Oh, a lot of damage coming out there too, Blitz, especially with the Supercharger getting laid down now. Fireborn was just moving a little bit. That cart is starting to come around that first corner, almost around the last corner as well. Fireborn still just throwing damage out. Lycaonian just can't do anything. Gets taken out by the Bastion. And here we have Overcrotch finally cleaning up here. Took them a while to finally get here, Bolt, but now they win themselves a team fight. They're back in this.
And this is what Overcrotch needed. They needed to stop that momentum, that snowball that Googlebois was setting up with their triple composition. Now, however, you have Nietzsche. He's already holding on to his Diva Bomb. They're coming to Trance, it's coming to Lucio Beat, and a Shatter as well. So they've got everything that they need to win out this fight, but can they sustain the constant stream of damage that is coming out from the 2 DPSs of Overcrotch, and can they push into this fort that Overcrotch has set up on the payload now?
That's the one good thing that they do have going for them for Overcrotch is they do have 2 of the DPS ultimates available to try and get through those, but they got to try and get out at least one of the support ultimates for Googlebois. But Googlebois, like you said, so much in the bank coming through. Earthshatter comes, and Fireborn is their target with the self-destruct, and it also gets the Mercy. So Googlebois cleaning up with just good 2 combination of ultimates, and now nothing that Big Pop can do except let himself die, and that one's just going to continue around the corner here. They're going to get one more chance to set up.
Fantastic comboing with the Diva Bomb and the Earth Shatter, taking down everybody, and nice discipline on the support players on holding on to their ultimate as they come in now. They're going to have what they need.
Oh, they get caught in the grab, and they can't get back to the cards. Googlebois is going to complete this. They're going to have a good time bank on here. Overcrotch, though, they're going to get their chance to attack. This is a best of 1, too. We should point out here in the group stages, so you're not necessarily done. After this map, you've got some more maps to play in the round robin, but you want to win every map you can.
You really do. Especially, you know, coming out the next games in this group, there's some really, really, like, scary teams. So the teams are definitely holding on to every chance that they have to win out. This is a really, really good time bank that the Googlebois have set up now. Overcrotch, can they come back? And can they do? They need a snowball, just like Googlebois did during that kind of, during their attack. Don't count them out. You know, Dorado is a very snowballing map. If you get that payload going, if you get the momentum going, the ultimates and all that, you can still do it. 3 minutes 30. Again, it looks scary. What Overcrotch needs to do now is take a step back, just settle back into their seats, and go, okay, we can still do it, and it's looking like they're gonna go with goats themselves.
Take that deep breath, right? It's the first game of the day, too. You don't have to let yourself think that this rides everything, but for Overcrotch, they did win a team fight. They took off 2 minutes about their off the clock, got it down to 3:32. It was much larger before that, too. So Blitz, I mean, they're going to come out here. It looks like they're going to come straight up goats is what they're going to do. On the other side, for Googlebois, they're going to come out with this ball and chain bunker comp. They're going to have themselves the Orisa and the Roadhog. They're going McCree and Hanzo, too.
So what Googlebois is looking to do with these two, high damage spam DPS is essentially shield break. They want to kite back the Ghost composition and keep shooting into the shield, keep wearing down the resources until eventually they just don't have any more. What instead Overcrotch wants to do is do what Goats is best at, which is engage. Go hard in, get the pick, get the initial pick, and just go in, get that damage out, and manage to win out the fight before they run out of resources.
How they decide to attack here is going to be something to pay attention to for the side of Overcrotch. How do they decide to attack those players who are up on the high ground? Looks like they're going to force them to have to come to the cart. This is their chance now to try and push onto that Orisa, who's right there. Big anti-nade coming out, making things a little bit difficult. They do lose their Diva mech, and they lost Scarlet Raven at the beginning. So this one for BPD, he's losing his life as well. Googlebois' defense looking pretty good here at the start.
Yeah, I was impressed by the focus fire that Overcrotch was pulling with their Ghost comp. However, sometimes you just can't beat a well-placed Ana anti-nade. That's exactly what she does. Everybody's anti. You can't take advantage of that stacked up AoE healing that Lucio and Brigitte both provide. And at that point, it's just a matter of going in, cleaning up that damage, getting those picks, and then snowballing the rest of the fight into a position where you can just win out. And that's what they're looking to do again now.
Yeah, the defense matrix only lasts so long, too, for your Diva. Oh, and Nietzsche at the start gets Griffin, so you're down your Zarya, who had a little bit of charge from the previous fight. I think Griffin was able to get out. Doesn't matter now, though. Googlebois cleaning up again.
And very solid ultimate as well from Nishi. Besides his nice shots at the beginning, taking down the Zarya, he uses his Dragon Strike to cut off the path of escape of the rest of Overcrotch, so they cannot fall back. They manage to just clean up the rest. And what does that mean? It means more ultimates, it means more time running down on the clock. And now Overcrotch, it's looking like they're going back to their comfort pick and trying to make this work their way.
And they're going to go with the Soldier 76. They're going to have a they're going to have the Roadhog at the very least. They don't have the ball and chain, but Soldier did get a boost. Oh, but the High Noon Iceborne couldn't get around the corner in time, so already down one, unfortunately. Habanero doing work from above on this McCree, trying to sneak on the side. Earth Shatter there does manage to get two, so this is the chance here for Overcrotch. They still are moving that cart away is the good thing. Dragon Strike might stop that, though, thanks to Nietzsche. Also got a headshot in there onto Shadow Raven as well, so Googlebois, even though they let that cart go a little bit, they still win the fight with their ultimates.
It was a nice Earth Shatter as well, coming out from Big Papa down. However, no follow-up, and that's what, when you're shattering tanks like Orisa, like Roadhog, that's so much health that you have to run down while those people are stunned and down on the ground. And if the follow-up doesn't come through, eventually they'll get up and they'll overpower you again with their increased health pool, as opposed to, a DPS or even Reinhardt, who is very, very vulnerable without a shield up.
Extremely vulnerable and already getting wrecked right now too by that Orisa and that Roadhog. So much damage focused onto the shield with the McCree too. So Googlebois, they're going to be able to rotate around. They know that that shield's still going to be fairly weak. They can put their Orisa shield down and try to engage. Oh, BPD coming in and getting the Ana though, so they're losing a lot of healing. Only problem is everybody else on their team ends up losing. Oh, the Diva gets the cap behind Fireborn with the back cap.
Habanero going to be announcing in the chat their mistake. Shame on them, I guess. As they keep going now, it's a little bit of a hiccup, but they're still looking in a commanding position. It happens. You have to just be aware of that. Rise is definitely aware of that with a hook.
Iceborne aware of the hook too, unfortunately losing his life because of it, but his team will still be able to get a little bit of free space here before they get pulled in. A Roadhog pulling a Roadhog in doesn't really do you a whole lot for Googlebois except give you a little bit of ult charge, and Ryzen gets that whole hog, is going to use it with the nano boost, and is throwing himself in, just trying to deal damage to that shield, but out comes the Coalescent, make sure to keep BBT alive, but he can't keep it through the Coalescence enough. Ryzen's still able to get that hook and kill. Nietzsche helping out as well, and Googlebois turning this fight around, even though ultimates have been used on either side.
Coalescence definitely outputs a lot of healing, but it doesn't beat a nanoed whole hog. That does so much damage. It will take down your shield if you're Reinhardt, and it will take down the Reinhardt as well, and anybody else who comes in the way of that just meat grinder with constant damage. I also want to spotlight, Ryzen has been looking amazing with the hooks. I haven't seen him miss a hook yet.
Really good hooks. Have to see if Griffin can match on the other side. They do have an Earth Shatter here. Oh, and there we kind of just saw it out the corner of our eye. Ryzen with another hook.
Just does it again. Iceborne now on the flank. Can he do it? He gets taken down, unfortunately, by Light Canyon. This is looking like a little bit of a reset if you're Overcrotch. Because, you know, you're going up 4v6. You don't want to invest any of your major resources, namely the ultimates. Big Papadum now sitting onto his Earth Shatter. Let's see if he can change the tides of this map, who has been going the way of the Googlebois so far.
Minute 37 left on the clock, too, is the one thing here to point out for Overcrotch. So they're going to come in. BPD gets pulled in by the Halt, able to keep himself alive, though. There's plenty of healing for him, but Fireborn will lose the mech, and the Deadeye from above. They can't stop. 2 down again, and Habanero just pushing forward, gets another one. Right clicks to find the last player left alive other than Griffin. And then Griffin falls, too.
And I gotta give it to Griffin, however, regardless of the result of that fight, for his awareness on the hook. As the enemy Roadhog was pulling out his whole hog using his ultimate ability, he uses the hook to cancel it out and just completely negating that damage that was a problem during that fight. Unfortunately, the High Noon comes out. Eventually, Overcrotch does fall to that kind of, like, that burst, especially after the the recent buffs. You know, McCree takes down tanks with the High Noon way easier. But still, good effort from them. Let's see if they can still do it. Earth Shatter again from Big Papa Dump is on deck, as well as the Valkyrie from Scarlet Raven. Maybe that's what they need. They need chain healing, they need that kind of strong engage. Here it comes.
Oh, he was able to get the shield, but the High Noon from above from Habanero again stops anything that they have going. Only 30 seconds left for Overcrotch. They have to regroup.
So Habanero, again, he's coming out with a bad High Noons, man. He's just completely taken over the spotlight in this game, in the second part of the game especially, looking amazing on the McCree, cleaning up, being real accurate with his normal shots, and then High Noons even better. So as Nishi is now spamming down from above, now on the Hanzo, this is the last fight. This is all or nothing for Overcrotch.
Oh, Griffin, the first one to go down, too, for Overcrotch. Self-destruct thrown into the air. Fireborn's able to get Frank Orphan out, so you lost your Mercy is the one thing, so they'll have to back up a little bit is the only problem for Googlebois. This is still a winnable fight here, potentially, for Overcrotch. Have Habanero, though, still up on the high ground, looking for an opportunity to get onto somebody. Throws out the flashbang, can't do anything. Out comes the Dragon Strike, splits the team up, and Nietzsche able to get 2 with that. Nietzsche and Habanero combining here to clear the carts and win the game for Googlebois.
With Nietzsche, with the Dragon Strike on the flank, you just don't see it coming. It comes from the back, hits that Dragon Strike, it just cuts through your entire team. Overcrotch couldn't withstand that kind of ultimates. And unfortunately, that's going to be the end of them for this game. They still have 2 games left. Again, the best of 1 group stage. Every team is going to be playing each other. It's round robin, and with 4 teams in each group, that means that, you know, it's not over. You can still pull it through. But again, it's got to hurt. It's the first game. You got to pull yourself back together and try and go again, as they say.
Exactly. That's a game that you can get out of the way if you're Overcrotch. You can regroup, can think about some of the things that they did wrong, try and improve upon them. For Googlebois, they're very happy with what they did. They showed us pretty good goats. They showed us some pretty good DPS play from a couple of their players. Habanero, the one, like you said, sort of stealing the show at the end there with the McCree. You talked about the buffs that just came through recently, too. So they, you know, these are still viable heroes. Obviously, they're not considered meta right now, but they're still extremely strong.
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, the meta, the main compositions that people will be running, probably will see a lot today. We saw a little bit. It's, you know, it's a 3 strengths, 3 supports. We've seen some teams in Overwatch League actually experimenting with Batiste in the place of either Brigitte or Zenyatta. A little less, but we've seen some Zenyatta players playing Batiste. So I'm interested in how that's going to play out. If some teams are finding themselves more comfortable, or maybe if some teams, you know, they've been practicing the Batiste, grinding out the Batiste to try and catch other teams off guard. You know, he's been live for what, like less than a week?
Yeah, less than a week live on competitive, but one of the announcements that happened a long time, once Baptiste was even brought forward and we knew this tournament was happening, Baptiste is in. That was something that everybody knew. So like you said, we'll see who ends up deciding to try and throw that Baptiste out there. We haven't seen him yet, at least here on the big screen, but that doesn't mean that's not something that we're going to see. We have plenty of more Overwatch that's going to be coming the way today too. So there's no doubt that that's a possibility that somebody has in the back pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. 5 more games we're going to be streaming just for the group stages, and then we're going to have so many games in the final bracket stage, and those are going to be best of 3, so that's even more Overwatch. We'll see. I'm sure we'll see some Baptiste. I'm sure we'll see some other comps that we're not even expecting yet. And I'm sure we'll just see a lot of Overwatch and a lot of, great players coming through.
So player of the game for our first game here in the group stages.
Ah, man. My heart says Habanero, but my brain says Ryzen. Just those hooks were amazing, and they shut down a push even before it could begin so many times. And I was just really, really impressed at his accuracy with the hooks. Especially on Roadhog, definitely not a meta hero, the definition of the opposite of it. Very, very little playtime in most of the Overwatch right now, but he just made it work. With those hooks, the other team couldn't even get through.
And who was it that he said to watch at the beginning? I believe it was Ryzen, right? It was Ryzen.
Coming up with a prediction.
So he's coming up with the predictions. There's plenty more of that's going to be happening here today. We've got another match that's going to be coming your way here really soon. We're going to take a timeout here, though, and then when we come back, we'll have our next group game here for Chicago Overwatch. We're back here with more Lakeside Showdown. It is, of course, Labasco, and we've got Blitzbolt here getting ready for our second group stage match that we're going to have here live for you. It's going to be the Parfaits versus the Googlebois. Yeah, that's right. You're going to see the Googlebois again, and this is one that we expect to be pretty good.
Yeah, we're following the Googlebois again. We're going to see them face up against the Parfait. The Parfait came into this tournament at the very end. So University of Chicago, they have a collegiate team that's been participating in TESPA. They had to drop out. Parfait coming in at the last second. And, they're looking like one of the favorites to come out of the group anyways. So both Googlebois and Parfait are definitely wanting to win this game. This is an important, very, very important game for the sake of Group B to see who's going to go through. Both Googlebois and Parfait have a very good chance of getting through. So this is going to be a heated game. Both teams really wanting to win.
Expectations high for both of these teams. Googlebois are going to stay on attack here starting as well. They're going to be red. Parfaits will be blue. We're about to see what they're going to be showing us here. Of course, that was one of the changes in one of the recent patches is now you can't really see what heroes are until you get a little bit till they start to come out. We get to see Parfaits defensively. We know this is what they're for sure going to do, so we take a look at them first. They're going to do we're going to see some traditional 2-2-2 here. We're going to see Ash and Hanzo kind of double sniperish.
Yeah, Anna and Zenyatta are going to be the supports for them. I'm going to assume that this is either a strategy that they have planned out to use those anti-nades, to use that big healing that Anna can provide. Usually you would see a Mercy. With these kinds of composition, you want the damage boost, but they're opting for the Ana. Interesting choice. We'll see how that works out. And we're going to see how the Googlebois are actually going to come out, because they're also looking to pull out some interesting comps, it seems like.
Well,
No, never mind.
they were showing some, they were messing around with us, which is why we
Yeah.
waited, because, we knew that the Great Debate was probably going to be on, and it was. It's going to be triple tank, triple support. It's going to be goats. It's going to be Zen goats. That variety with the Reinhardt, of course. We haven't seen really much Winston yet, I think, is one of the biggest surprises with how strong Winston has gotten to. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. As we watch here, we can see Linte Nian is trying to look for an opportunity to get over to where those two are that are poking out. So kind of just waiting here a little bit before these teams start to actually meet up. Zark is going to get stunned on the low ground, extremely low, and quickly taken down here. But Dale Cooper evens things up by taking out Ryzen. Oh, the shot into Lycanina as well. And then now just looking for the Zenyatta. Looks like this push is going to end up working out, though. Even though Dale Cooper was doing what he can, Googlebois still going to be able to clean it up.
Good effort from Dale Cooper, definitely coming out with the Hanzo shot and almost making it look like they were going to come out on top against GOATs. So now, the one thing you were saying, you were talking about the Reinhardt in the GOATs composition as opposed to Winston. So theoretically, the Winston would be a better pick now because it helps you definitely to take down those DPSs. We might be seeing Lycanina actually do exactly that.
There it is.
Yeah, he does. So Winston, a better pick against DPS comps. While Ryan is way better in the mirror, when you're playing Ghosts v Goats, Winston definitely helps out to take down the enemy DPS and contest those snipers, especially who are looking for those long ranges And if we look at the geometry of this second point on Hollywood, Winston definitely has a little bit of an advantage, and he can go between the two high grounds and the low grounds effortlessly. Habanero on the Genji though.
So they've switched over, it looks like, to a dive composition is what they want to go to. They're still keeping their Zarya, though, so not quite full dive. They're just having the Genji instead of the D.Va is their choice. Nietzsche will get the first elimination of the start. Habanero dashing through 2 as well, so that's working out pretty well. Switching to the Genji, it appears, has to be careful not to lose his life. Able to get back away, and Dale Cooper says goodbye.
So, okay, Habanero on the Genji. I was a little skeptical of it at first, especially because Linkanian is going to have a tough time getting those dives out. After the bubble runs out from Zarya, we can assume that they're going to do that way. Then he has to be really, really careful, and he's going in again, real fast.
So going in for the initial dive again, Zark with the Earth Shatter. Those stuns a bunch, but gets stunned himself. The trans too late, and the Graviton Surge coming out with the Dragon Strike. Not going to find anything. The Dragon Strike, of course, was from Googlebois, though, but they're still cleaning up, even though they didn't catch anybody in there. Just have to be careful of Bob. Well, Bob is trying to do something. It's just not working out.
Bob 2-0, it's going to look like. Falls down as well. And wow, the Googlebois are just, again, they're pulling off another one of those performances, just like against the previous games against Overcrotch. They're just snowballing, they're going in, they're getting those tags. It's so important to keep the time bank high. And here they are, they're already cleaning up again. And Nishi with 2 kills on the Brigitte, holding that M1 like no one else can. And he's going to be taking them down. And again, this competition, I was skeptical, but they're definitely proving me wrong.
They're making it work. They are going against another sort of DPS style of composition. They've been really combining really, really well, the Winston and the Genji. Habanero has this blade, can use it whenever, too. They really don't have to wait for much. There's nothing up that can stop this Dragon Blade from Habanero, and here it comes. Just has to watch out for the flashbang. Well, if you slice right through him, it doesn't even matter. Looks for another one, already has 3. A little bit of help from Lycanian to get the rest of the team. They're going to be able to push the rest of the way with that team kill.
And very nice bubble coming out from Ryzen, justifying that Zarya pick. You know, Genji, what's Genji afraid of when he's playing? He's afraid of McCree stuns, afraid of sleep, he's afraid of even anti-nade. That can be a death sentence for a Genji that's blading. However, with that bubble, none of that is even a problem. So he can just go in, not care about, you know, having to wait out cooldowns, having to play your blade around all of those little things. Just goes in, pulls out the nano blade, not nano blade, pulls out the dragon blade. Again, I was also surprised by that. No nano when running Genji. It worked out just fine.
No Ana at all.
Yeah, it worked out just fine. And he comes out with the blade, just slices and dices, takes down 4, and the bubble is all it takes. And he can just take his sweet time, get those resets, get those combos down, and he does, you know, obviously very convincing push all around. I was really just impressed by that blade.
Googlebois is looking really good. They're going to be defending now. Parfaits are going to have the opportunity to attack. We highlighted a little bit of the Winston before. Let's talk about that a little bit more. Winston was one of the characters that really got the biggest buff from the latest patch, too. When you think about it, Blitz, I mean, he now does so much more damage, but not only that, he builds ult so fast. I mean, we saw didn't even have to be used, but Winston now has become so important.
Yeah, Winston used to struggle a lot against tanks because his lightning gun, the way that the damage properties work in this game, that is a lot of small ticks of damage that he's doing, and armor used to negate so much of that when enemies had armor, Winston, he might as well not be shooting them. Good Winstons usually look for somebody else instead of shooting tanks or a Brigitte that has armor. But now, with those armor nerfs, he's way more useful against anybody that isn't as squishy, so he's way more versatile, and you can use him in many different situations. Linkanian is looking, actually the entire team, looking for a very, very forward hold now to surprise the enemies with.
They have a Mei, too, so Habanero is playing the Mei. See if they catch this. Oh, looking, no, that way was Zark. Get a big anti-nade. Catches 3, but can they follow up on it is the only thing. Zark with that initial pick on Habanero, so this could be the snowball that starts it. They do lose Dale Cooper out of the sky is the only problem. And Corn Cake's going down as well on that Mercy, so not looking too good for Parfaits just yet. They still have a couple of players to deal with. It's even though, and now they they're going to kind of wait here. They do have the advantage as far as how close their spawn is, but the team defensive spawn, not too far either. They're just going to back out now for Parfaits. They know they've lost this fight.
Yeah, Parfait was looking for those one-on-one one-for-one trades, and they eventually do get him, and now they're trying to go back in with that small advantage, but the May wall going to make it so much harder for them.
Oh, Zark was so close to losing his knife. Anti-nade, or well, the nade helps him. It's not anti when it's from your own team. Zark with that Earth Shatter too, looking for his opportunity, getting stunned up, still having to be careful. Now throws it out, does manage to catch the Zarya, but they're focusing on the Rhine. Zark now charging into the Zarya, even though here 2 players lost. Corn Cakes has made that switch over to the Baptiste as well. Throws down that invincibility shield, but there's only 1 player in it. His team has lost this fight, maybe, although they were able to get Lycaonian out. So now they can start aggressing forward, throw down the Baptiste ult, have to wait for that wall to go out. You can shoot it too to get it away. They weren't doing that just yet, so now that wall pretty much gone. And now they have the May Blizzard being used. Dale Cooper evening things back up, but the Graviton Surge, this could be enough here to swing this back in favor of the defense with Ryzen just using that Zarya to such great effect.
Baptiste with that Mercy cosplay uses the invulnerability field, invincibility field in there, and heroes never die. You know, the Graviton Surge comes out, but it gets negated by the field. However, well, nice cleanup from Ryzen and Linkinian coming up. Eventually Linkinian with a charge onto the Doomfist. Tactical crouch, and that's the first instance of it in today's tournament.
There'll be plenty more tactical crouching as we go along. There's no doubt about that. 1:49 left. There are some ultimates on the board for Parfait, though, so this could be their opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you're looking, maybe you're going to use that Electric Cowboy, get us a little bit of a Season 2 reminder. With the High Noon, when boosted up with the Nano Boost, it can do so much damage and so fast. So Dale Cooper as well with the Meteor Strike can go for a backline attack. A little bit of a attack problem experienced by both teams now. And we're going to be looking for a pause now. 1 minute left on the Parfait, but
see if they can, looks like we're just trying to, and there comes out the pause. So we get the pause here, so that will bring it back to us. Glad to see you again. Of course, Labasco, Blitzbolt here with you again. So we have a little bit of time here to talk about things while we have that. We saw there's a bunch of ultimates that are up for the Parfaits, for Googlebois. What's the best way to try and get through an alt bank like that?
So I think that the best way is to first off have that that discipline and that you know, in-game intelligence, I guess we can call it, to just realize that they do have those ultimates. You know, knowledge is power. Even in a game like Overwatch, you want to know what does the enemy have. You know, if they've been doing their homework and they've been hold tracking well the entire game, they're going to know, okay, they've got the High Noon, they got the Nano, the Meteor Strike. You know, kind of hard to play around, but you still can. And at that point, what you want to do is either try and go for a play and focus down one of those heroes. You know, you take down the McCree, that Nano's not going to do as much. You take down Diana, that High Noon you can just LOS and run away.
Right.
So you want to either do that or play around them. That's a little more risky, again, because you're risking a lot and like letting the enemy use their ultimate abilities, which is the main way that they're going to get through a push at that point. But at the same time, if you manage to bait them out and not lose any players, or even like just contain the damage that those ultimates do, you can come back with your own ultimates, maybe with your own resources, cooldowns, whatever that may be, maybe just even a larger health pool, and then you go in, you can clean up that fight, and still turn around a fight that looked lost in the first place.
See, learning something here too while we have this little bit of time talking about alt tracking. Clearly he's doing that, no problem, so hopefully you can do that at home too. Obviously you can see it at the top, so I hope that you're able to track the ultimates, but when you look at it here, Googlebois has looked really good. We talked about how this is an important match for both of these teams, that this could potentially be what determines whether these teams get out. There's another team that we're going to see later on from the same group that could be the group winner that ends up being the favorite. So this is something that could end up being really the crux, excuse me. Need to use the right vocabulary here. The crux of whether or not they get out of group stages. So we're finding out here that we are having a little bit of trouble with some of the connections here. So we're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we will have the rest of this map here for you. But before we get to that, we're going to fix these problems that we're having. We welcome you back here for the Chicago Overwatch Lakeside Showdown, Labasco. And, of course, we have Blitzbolt next to me as well, getting ready for our third matchup of these group stages. There are games going on right now, too, of course, but what we have going on here on the main stage. Spek Gaming versus C.O.L.T Action is our next one, Blitz. We go here, we get to see our map 2 is going to be Temple of Anubis. So we've seen a lot of escort maps up until this point. We saw hybrid. Now we get to see an assault map. What should we expect here going into this map?
So we're going to be expecting maybe even some bunker comp. You know, that those have been historically really good on Temple on defense, and probably some dive on the side of the attackers. What we're really expecting is how high stakes this game is. This is probably the highest stakes game we've seen today as of yet. You know, Sub, definitely one of the favorites to even take the whole thing, is in this group, and they're poised to take the 3-0. They're currently 2-0. Both of these teams are 1-1, and this is the last game of the group. Whoever wins this is, you know, barring some miraculous upset on the other game of this group, whoever wins this game will be coming out of the group in the second place.
Super important game. The stakes have been set here. Defensively, we see it's going to be GOATs, 3-3, 3 tanks, 3 supports, but it's going to be the Winston one, something we're familiar with for those who maybe watch a lot of Overwatch here, for those who may watch some Overwatch.
Yeah, and the Winston as well, you know, you run it on defense. A lot of teams like the Philadelphia Fusion in the Overwatch League use that a lot because it covers more things. The attackers can't stop their competition, the defense can't really walk back to spawn and shame. So using the Winston, if you end up in a GOATs v GOATs situation, it's a slightly unfavored matchup, but against DPSs it does well. So you use that to cover different things in the attack.
So JoJo hopping in here with Vision, and already they're able to get one elimination. We're seeing the GOATs variety from C.O.L.T Action as well, but they're using actually the original GOATs. They have the
Moira.
The Moira. I don't know why I couldn't say Moira for some reason. So thank you for saying that for me. Vision finishing off the Lucio there in May, but we're seeing here C.O.L.T Action going to have to regroup.
Yeah, a little bit of history of GOATs. People used to run the Moira at the very beginning with it. However, as people, you know, refined the composition, they found out that the Zenyatta Discord org was so good that the lack of healing was worth having the Discord. Not having the Discord might make it a little harder to finish our kills for that team.
Brigitte can do so much healing is the one good thing. That's why you're able to do that too. And here the Winston JoJo already has ultimate, by the way. Built that up, I think, in the last fight. So that's one of those things we had highlighted earlier before this match had started, was how much quicker you build that ult up if you are. So Spek Gaming already with a bunch of ults to work with. They're going to have to start going on to this point. They've already given up one tick. They've regrouped, let everybody get healed up. Use the rally here by Gator Dan as he pushes his way in. Volker from the back line too, doing damage as well, and it looks like this is going to get cleaned up by the defense in Spek Gaming. Just have to deal with that pesky Lucio.
Yeah, May using that beat while 3 of his teammates were down. Definitely a questionable choice. You know, you could have used that beat later, maybe to engage a fight or to survive one of the 5 ultimates that Spek Gaming is now sitting on. You know, you have the the premier GOATs combo with the Graviton Surge and the D.Va Self-Destruct coming out now. That's probably the play that we're going to see come out for Spek. So it's all in Jaden to eat that Graviton Surge like it's breakfast.
So watching that, and the D.Va was turned away, so he throws it out. Jay Lee catching plenty of players for Spek Gaming, and there's the cleanup. Triple kill from the Zarya.
Unfortunately, they don't have the charge to take down the Reinhardt inside of the Grav to make for an easier combo, but it still works out. That's so much damage. The shield goes down. Maybe somebody gets caught up in that explosion anyway, and they go down. Now, C.O.L.T Action, they've got the same thing, and that's coming right back at Spek. Now, let's see if they use that combo well, especially without a shield in the Reinhardt. JoJo can only use a bubble to block the D.Va bomb, and that's going to be really, really hard for him to do. But if they can pull it off, they're looking really convincing.
They're going up to the high ground here for C.O.L.T Action. This is where they want to go to try and get this out. They have JoJo jumping in. He's not going to go onto the high ground, just trying to pull some aggro. Necromaster's really close, loses his life. 2 Yeet Balls to 1, finishing off the Reinhardt. So C.O.L.T Action already in a bad place. They use their Coalescence as well. Doesn't work out, and Spek Gaming is winning this fight again.
And Yeet Balls with the DPS cosplay, definitely taking down 2 people, finishing the push before it even begins. Very nice play from one of the best names in this tournament, in my opinion. Big fan of Yeet Balls. And when that happens, good discipline on C.O.L.T Action though. They haven't used those ultimates that they were sitting on. They can use them in the next fight. They use a Coalescence, they use a rally, but that's not what's going to win them the next fight. However, look at that aggression from Spek Gaming. They're getting those staggers, pushing them all the way back to the spawn. and now they only have 30 seconds to come out. Both teams with a lot of ultimates. We're going to see some particle effects coming out in the upcoming fight for sure.
Tons of them coming out. We'll see how C.O.L.T Action decides to attack here on their offense. They pretty much have to go straight to point. That's their plan. Jaden getting close to losing that mech, and he does so. Has to throw the self-destruct out. Graviton Surge here used on the point. Fission and Jay Lee, the two that go down. Fission, though, getting one with that self-destruct as well. So there's still a chance for Spek Gaming to turn this around. Primal Rage just displacing characters all over the map from JoJo. Throws down the bubble, but loses his life to Fujisama. So this is going to be their chance. Fujisama with that one just have to deal with Yeet Balls now, and they should win this first point, but it was not easy. All their ultimates used for both Spek Gaming and C.O.L.T Action, but they're going to have two ultimates here to go on to that second point.
Man, I was looking at Fission. He just played out of his mind that fight. Gets the pick with a Diva Bomb and eats Fujisama's Graviton Surge as well. However, that is not enough. And now C.O.L.T Action is looking to snowball. They're coming in fast. Two ultimates, Rally and the Earth Shatter. Nothing on the side of Spek Gaming.
Want to try and have as big of a time bank as possible. Get 4 minutes back for completing that first point. So they're already at 340. If they can win off of this Earth Shatter, could be huge. JoJo gets pinned. Doesn't lose his life, though, is the only thing. Super close. The Coalescence finishes him off. Vision now looking to even things up. Transcendence, but Fujisama is too strong. High charge. Zarya making a difference here for C.O.L.T Action. Has to finish off these last few players. Volker, the only one left, who goes down. Now Yeet Ball's back here with Fission, who's throwing the self-destruct into the corner. They avoid it here. We see the Reinhardt starting to come back. Jaffa using as much healing as possible. Fujisama throwing out the Graviton Surge, but out comes the sound barrier, and that's going to turn it around. Charging into Fujisama. Fujisama, the only one left alive, has to try and escape with this charge, but won't be able to do it. Spek Gaming turned that around.
What a turnaround from Spek Gaming. Volker and Yeet Balls with nearly perfectly placed support alls. They're inside of the Graviton Surge. They have a man disadvantage. They're coming in kind of a staggered situation. Everything is pointing. C.O.L.T Action's gonna take this. C.O.L.T Action's gonna have that time bank coming into the next round. But amazing job from their support players, keeping everybody up in the face of, terrible possibility. They stay up, and now they even have the ult advantage coming up onto the next fight.
Blitz, they didn't even get 33%.
No.
If you don't get 33%, you don't get to keep that percentage. So if you get to that, you keep it, and it gives you a win condition. They don't have that win condition yet. They're down to 218 because of how much time that took as well. So Spek Gaming sitting in a great spot with all these ultimates coming up. They do have the sound barrier, but already losing 2 players. Oh, the sound barrier used by C.O.L.T Action too. So late of his sound barrier, they're now without that ult as well. Spek Gaming even more in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and Gatordan on the Brigida there. Gatordan actually a hit cam player. We've seen him a lot in the Overwatch Chicago, in the leagues, in the tournaments, and even in the pugs every weeknight. Gosh, I'm getting excited. Gatordan, he goes for the bash from behind. That is so hard to do now that the Brigida stun, the shield bash, doesn't go through Reinhardt shield. So setting up a bash shatter play is so much harder. He manages to do it. Stays in the back, manages to take the Reinhardt by surprise before he can get bubbled for the play, and JoJo, perfect reactions on the shatter, and the fight is just clean up from there. They get a beat out of him.
Safe to say Gatordan is getting her done for sure. Using the Grav Bomb combo is Spek Gaming again. Finds themselves 2 at the beginning with the help of the charge by JoJo, and they clean up another fight here. Still have 2 ultimates on the board.
Yeah, C.O.L.T Action now. They don't have ultimates right now. If I were them, I'd be taking a step back, trying to farm up those ultimates, because there's a lot on deck. The Rally, the Earth Shatter, the Graviton Surge. There's a lot coming up. Spek Gaming, on the other hand, they do have those 2 ults, maybe a third one coming out from Yeet Balls. But C.O.L.T Action, if they can use that discipline to farm up a little bit before going in for the play, they can have a strong play coming up.
50 seconds left, though, so they do have to just be wary of that time bank. They are going around to that right side first before they come in. Throw the grab out here at the start. Rally and Transcendence used, though. Fission is able to get the Reinhardt at the beginning, too, so C.O.L.T Action already behind. You lose your Rein, you generally lose the fight. Can they turn it around? Vision, though, finding Jaffa as well. JoJo high charge. Zarya in front of him has to be careful, but his team is winning the battle around him. But Fujisama, because of that high charge, still giving them a chance. But Jay Lee in the fight as well, and just going to back off is the rest of C.O.L.T Action.
Yeah, Fujisama has to get out now. If he dies now, then it's going to be really hard to have that last fight for C.O.L.T Action. It's looking like they will, and Jay Lee's getting a little caught.
Oh, Jay Lee, if they lose that Zarya, that could be the difference maker. They do have to get on the point here, though. 3 seconds left. Self-destruct thrown on, clears players away for the moment. Have that ult 2 for Necromaster as well. Throws it out into the grab, into the shatter. 2 players down here quickly. Have to deal with Jay Lee though, and Vision. Have to make sure you stay alive in the grab as well. Sound barrier will ensure that. They're almost to that first 33%, continuing to build up. Have to make sure that they stop the stalls. Heat balls goes away. Overtime meters when this is happening though. Have to try and block players as they come. They do complete it. Does happen in overtime is the one thing to point out though, Blitz.
Yeah, now, they managed to do it at the very end of this round. They have overtime, so if Spek Gaming ends up capping most of the points, C.O.L.T Action is going to have either a chance to, go again and try to go and win out this game. However, if Spek Gaming captures both capture points with more than a minute left, C.O.L.T Action is going to get none of that. And Spek Gaming is going to be looking to either win out in the overtime after, in the next round, or if C.O.L.T Action can force a draw, then we'll go to a tiebreaker map and we'll explain the rules in case that happens.
Of course.
However, Spek Gaming now, they are looking, it's not the best result. You did get full capped, but no time on the clock for the time bank. For C.O.L.T Action, Spek Gaming is looking to go fast and go hard and get that time bank to win out in the next round.
So, Spek Gaming has a win condition. C.O.L.T Action has a win condition.
Absolutely.
They're still alive is the important thing for C.O.L.T Action in this point. Like you said, not ideal, but you can still try to mount a great defense here, and this is what they're going to go with. They do actually make a switch there at the end. May was kind of debating, has gone over to the Diva, so they're going to go up with straight triple tank, triple support, goats with the Zenyatta.
Yeah, now this is, it's not necessarily a safe pick because, again, Spek Gaming came out with a Winston on the defense, but if you come out with the Reinhardt, however, there is a possibility that the attacking team could come out with a DPS heavy comp and go for that. Let's see if Spek Gaming, has that awareness to try and go for the counter, or maybe they'll just mirror goats, and that's a possibility. Maybe they're, they're confident in their play. Jojo actually coming out with the Winston. They want to use that high ground. The matchup in a vacuum is slightly in favor for the Winston Goats team. However, let's see if Jojo can make good use of the high ground and the dives to win out this fight.
Watch how quickly his ultimate gets built up too. That's the one thing that has been one of the big changes for this Winston, other than just the damage he can deal out, is how quick he can build his ultimate. Has to stay alive though is the important thing. So now when he gets his opportunity to jump in, he can build up that ultimate. They got to the high ground, didn't lose anybody. That's the first objective that Spek had. Now they're going to come around towards where that is. You're still seeing where C.O.L.T Action is. Now they're going to start to push their way on, looking for a target. Jojo already started to throw that Tesla canna out there. Have a bunch of players getting booped away by the Lucio too. They're going to start coming back in. Have to focus on a target though. Jojo jumping back to the high ground, coming back towards that team, already halfway to that ultimate as well. And now the kills start to come in for his team too, as they will clean up and take this. They're going to have a big time bank for this second point to try and win this game.
That is so much. So coming out from the Tesla cannon, as you said, Jojo is just sitting pretty. He's making sure he doesn't die and just doing so much damage. Eventually, C.O.L.T Action, they just get run out of resources, and with all that overtime damage from Jojo's Tesla cannon, that's so much cleave, that's so much damage, eventually they lose out. So now Spek Gaming is looking to go and push their advantage, push that snowball. They're coming up onto all of these ultimates as well. Let's see if they can do it and get that sweet 6-minute cap.
And Volker throwing in those destruction orbs, already getting a couple players low. So now Jojo coming in, has his ultimate that he can use, looking for his opportunity. Here's their Earth Shatter. One of his players goes down in Gator Dan, but it's okay because the sound barrier is keeping everyone else alive. They still have important targets up, but Jojo loses his life before he uses his ultimate. So you have to think maybe Jojo's going to switch here because he didn't use that all. His team has lost this. They still have 6 minutes, of course, though, so plenty of time, Blitz.
Yeah, they do. Now, what they're looking for, again, is to go in. Now, Jojo is often to stay on the Winston. He has that Primal Rage. So Jojo wants to go in, probably into the backline, and try to just cause as much havoc as possible. You want to disorient C.O.L.T Action with all those boops, with all that displacement, and possibly even boop somebody into your own team. And if you do that, and the rest of the team follows up on that, you can get an easy pick and go in from the rest. Now, there it is. Graviton Surge and the Diva Bomb. The combo's coming out soon.
Especially if you displace one of those key tanks, and here he goes right in with the Primal Rage, trying to throw players away. Self-destruct does get Jaffa. That could be enough here for them to end up winning this fight. The counter self-destruct doesn't work, but Volker does lose their life, so they lose out on their Zenyatta damage and that Discord Orb, so there's still a chance for the defense with how much closer they are. Jojo doing what he can on this Winston, throwing out as much damage as possible. Finds Fujisama, so the damage gone now for C.O.L.T Action. Have to hope that the Reinhardt can keep them in this fight, but Jojo still up and alive thanks to all the support from the rest of the team and that rally too by Gator Dan that was used there a little bit later. So now they have their opportunity, but this fight is taking a long time, so respawners will start coming back in. Have to have a focus fire if your C.O.L.T action is the one thing. Volker back though as well, so they're getting respawners back on either side. This fight taking time is okay if you're the defense, but you're starting to lose it, so Spek Gaming kind of happy with that, especially with the grab. Got another grab in the time that the other, and they had the self-destruct, so this looking perfect for Spek Gaming. May coming back into stall for as long as possible. You have to regroup at 6 here if you're C.O.L.T.
They do manage finally to clear the point, and now those respawn timers are going to be so much higher. Fujisama looking to contest, but he just used his personal shield. It's going to be really hard for him.
He got pulled away. He gets back on, pinned a player, ends up losing him up in the air, loses his life as well, so still keeping this for them is Spek Gaming. Have to deal with these last few respawners coming back in the May, who's playing Diva, I need to say. We need to make sure we specify that one. Yeet Ball's in, riding around, throwing damage into his counterpart, and Lucio back in is the Zarya. They're just stalling for as long as they can. 350 left to go. They get some players back in, but JoJo still alive, still throwing out damage. They finally clear this point off, completed. They will have the chance here to win this outright. We do have a tie still as potential, though, for C.O.L.T action. It's going to be monumental effort that's needed.
Yeah, Spek Gaming only needs to get 33% on the first point on the attack. So, you know, it's looking way easier than what they had to do, but C.O.L.T action might pull out something that catches them by surprise. You know, 4 minutes, it's just about the time to catch the first point, and how many times do we see teams just not cap any point on 2CP? And that might just happen. Also, one thing that I wanted to spotlight is C.O.L.T action, actually. I realized at the end, they had a little bit of a role swap. May was on the Lucio at the very beginning during their own attack,
right,
but was on the Diva now. So maybe C.O.L.T action is being cognizant of, like, sometimes things aren't working perfectly. We'll try out something else. We can assume that they did practice different things during the practice sessions, but leading up to this tournament, and, you know, this is definitely looking like something different for sure here on the Reaper and Fujisama on the Hanzo.
I'm glad that you were mentioning how, you know, this is when you pull something out. All the stops have to come out here. This is pretty much the tournament lives on the line for C.O.L.T action. Yeah. So they're going to go with this triple DPS comp is what it looks like. They're going to go with an Ana, and they're going to go with the, well, they were showing Zen. They're going to go Lucio instead, and they still have themselves, oh, sorry, two DPS. Neko Master has gone over to the Reinhardt. So,
yeah.
2-2-2.
Yeah, now, this is all up to JoJo and Pigeon. That tank play from the two dive tanks in the 3-3 composition from Spek Gaming, they have to contest those heroes. You know, Reaper, you don't see him that much because a good Diva will just make him kind of useless. So it's all on Pigeon to take care of that Reaper damage. But if he doesn't, Reaper can just run uncontested and just self-sustain, build up all of those ultimates. It can be a really, really dangerous pick to play against.
40% lifesteal is what happens whenever he shoots those Hellfire shotguns onto a character. So he does have a lot of sustain if used, but they find their target. They're going to go onto the Hanzo, but the Hanzo's kept alive in Fujisama. So good job by the defense in C.O.L.T action. Keep that player alive. Neko Master able to get one, and Jay Lee. So damage is gone, but JoJo gets heroes. So you lose out on damage on the other side. Back and forth this goes, but JoJo's still in there. Is about to have his Primal Rage if he needs it. Pushing in onto that Zarya. Now uses the Primal Rage to batter him down into that corner. Finds himself a Hanzo to throw away from the point as well. Dragon Strike comes out. Doesn't matter. Spek Gaming wins this one. C.O.L.T action will unfortunately lose.
Yeah, Spek Gaming now with the 2-1 record in the group, they're going to be the ones coming out of Group A in that second place. They're going to be going to the final bracket, where that's still a few ways away. We still have 2 more groups to play out today, 3 more games on stream, but it's got to feel good for Spek Gaming to know that now you just punch your ticket to the top 8 of this tournament, where, you know, group it's best of 3, and it's going to be in all of those games. You get a little bit more, you know, get more maps, you get more chances to win out those games. It's not as do or die as the best of 1 group stages is, and it just feels good to be in the final bracket, come out of the round robin stage for them.
Yes, without a doubt. JoJo went on a bizarre adventure there for the play of the game as well too. So, you know, I don't know which JoJo he is. I don't know if you're a fan of anime or not, but you know, you were talking about good names, so I had to mention that one. But again, Spek Gaming, like you said, pretty much have sealed the deal that they're going to come out of this group now. For C.O.L.T action, unfortunately, that probably ends things for them, especially with how you said how the group has gone up until this point. But, you know, it was a valiant effort from them here in this final game that they ended up playing on, well, the game that they played on stream here for us. But Spek Gaming looked really good.
Yeah, and both of these teams put together in one of the groups with, again, C.O.L.T. I mentioned them before. We're one of the favorite teams to take the event. They've got some amazing players. They've got Bird now playing on Atlanta Academy, Juby, who's in the weight check, one of the top open teams. So very, very dangerous players. Kind of sucks to be put into that kind of group, but both teams fought it out really well, and it was a really, really close game at the end of the day to punch that second ticket to the final stages. It's going to be Spek Gaming, but C.O.L.T Gaming, again, as you said, they put up a fight. They tried, I respect, they tried everything. They tried going for the ghost composition, and it worked out, until it didn't at the end of the day. They came up with the DPS, and they were looking kind of good. Eventually, Jojo, I want to highlight that play. He comes out, again, your bizarre adventure,
yeah,
Jonathan
right, exactly.
Joestar.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yep, he's going to go in, and he uses the Primal Rage. He takes down the Ana at the very beginning, then uses the Primal Rage, stays up, and cleans up the fight.
It was awesome use of an ultimate. We got to see how good that Winston can be, especially on Temple of Anubis. We have more maps that will be coming your way soon, though. We have more group stages. I know we were talking about teams that are going to maybe make it onto our bracket play, but we still have to get through groups, and when we come back, we'll have another map of that here for you.